Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids. I got a little extra bass in my voice this morning for some reason.
You do.
I sound like you. Oh boy. And welcome to season 3 and episode number 300. I know, I don't know where this came from. I just woke up this morning and I'm very white. I'm a little dry, kid. I'm not moist enough. Episode number 300 and I'm going to guess 22 of the Daily
21
Morning Show here
321
on 21 on, well, okay, whatever, on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. And it looks like it's going to be a lovely day here at the Beaver Lodge. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. With me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today while I have a little bit of tea?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. My mental health today, well, sir, I think it's pretty good, actually. Physically, I'm feeling a little off. Like I'm not 100% physically, but mentally, I feel good. Yeah, happy and good spirits and a great mood. I think what else? I don't know that. Well, my beloved Bridget is ill right now. She's had a cold the last couple of days. Yeah, so she's been staying home because she doesn't want me to get sick because my 3 paid sick days a year don't exactly pay all the bills. So I've already taken one this year or last year. Anyway, you understand. I have 2 left, and I'd like to not have to use them if I don't have to, right? So yeah, physically I'm a little off, not 100%, but emotionally and mentally I feel. If I was any better, I'd be a twin.
Well, that's good. That's very good.
I think so. I agree. It's can't explain it. Don't need to understand it. Just gonna roll with it.
All right. Sounds good to me. Oh boy. Sorry. Excuse me. Got a cough.
Well, Cassie wants you to do Luke, I'm your father.
Luke, I'm your father.
There you go. There you go.
I am Batman. Oh yeah, I have a cup of actual throat coat tea with me right now. Yes, although the people at the musical are gonna love me because I'm singing the bass line and I can actually give them some.
Yeah, that's definitely bassy for you. It's much lower than normal.
I know, and I'm not even trying because normally when if I'm getting this low, I'm deliberately, thinking, channeling Barry White and going down there, but I just open my mouth and it comes out. Oh well,
roll with it, right?
We'll roll for it. Today I get the sexy voice. I remember somebody was saying, I'm not sure if it was one of James' kids. Is that the guy with the low voice and the guy with the high voice? We switched today. Yeah, it is. I
I'll
got
have
the
to go
kids
to the
going.
studio mic here.
Yes.
I am Batman.
We have the kids going, it's all about the bass, No.
No treble.
No treble. No treble, all trouble. There we go. All right, kids and cubs. Let's see what we have for you today.
Have you seen how the Conservative Party of Canada is losing their mind over somebody promoting one of Canada's largest agricultural exports, aquaculture exports, lobsters?
Yes.
You realize down east, eating a lobster is like eating a steak in Alberta. It's not out of the ordinary. It's $3.2 billion worth of exports per year, and they're losing their shit over this guy having lobster in Chinese New Year, which is what is traditional in Chinese New Year in that part of the world. By the way, they just got to find something to pick and dig at, and that one just... Well, I was like, what is this all about? When I discovered what it was about, I'm like, anything to distract from the fact that you're a bunch of shit gibbons.
Yeah. We have this. I'll put up the picture here. It is Minister Lawrence Macaulay, who I believe is from Atlantic Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
That should not have happened.
It did.
But he's going touchdown in Malaysia. I'm looking forward to a productive week of meeting with officials, industry leaders, and partners from Canada and the Indo-Pacific to promote our world-class products like the lobster I enjoyed for lunch in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah.
Now, the conservative angle on this is, gee, look at this. It's an affordability crisis. 2 million people are going to food banks, blah, blah, blah. And look at you, like this, in a T-shirt, and, taking pictures of yourself eating lobster. Man, you are out of touch. Just out of touch. Completely out of touch.
Lobster farmers are glad he's there.
Yes, absolutely. And conservatives seem to have a problem with lobster because I remember after the last cabinet shuffle, I think 3 days after the shuffle or something like that happened, the Minister of Small Business, the new Minister of Small Business, Richie Valdez, was out in Atlantic Canada. Yes, and she did her Foodie Friday, and she showed herself eating a lobster roll, and they lost their minds then too.
See, lobster rolls at Subways in Atlantic Canada are a regular feature. It's like ham or roast beef.
Now, I'm not sure she went to Subway.
No, but I'm just making a statement.
Yes. So they're taking the visual of people eating lobster because lobster is seen as shishi and bougie. Yes, and look at you dining out rich on the Canadian taxpayer's dime and flaunting it and all that kind of stuff. Boy, you're out of touch. Now, maybe, considering the current political context, a picture of yourself eating the lobster was maybe not the best choice. Maybe he should have been at the restaurant close to the lobster tank and saying, hey, I'm promoting the lobster.
So here's something else. So this story about lobster dinners are perfectly okay for conservatives, but totally outrageous for liberals. So a lot of people started posting pictures of the conservatives.
Yep. Let's go in order. Let's go in order.
But here, look at this comment from, is it Ina? Or
Ina, yes.
Should look up how lobster first came to be considered a delicacy. Spoiler, it was brainwashing through advertising. That is correct. As a matter of fact, if you talk to somebody of the boomer generation, if they went to school in Atlantic Canada and had lobster rolls or lobster in their lunch, they were embarrassed and tried to hide it because only poor people ate lobster at the time. That is a fact.
That was considered poor people's food.
Yes. You ate lobster because you couldn't afford steak.
Right. So Lawrence Macaulay represents the riding of Cardigan and Prince Edward Island. He also happens to be the Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
So he's doing his job.
Just like Richie Valdez was doing her job.
Yeah.
Promoting small businesses, small tourism businesses, small restaurants, eateries.
So this is the political party that likes to tell you that they're all about business, all about the small guy, all about the except if it doesn't suit their narrative, then they will throw you under the bus like they do every damn time. Every person does something that promotes Canadian small businesses, like when the Prime Minister bought donuts from a small donut shop in Winnipeg, and they lost their shit over that.
Yep.
They don't care about anything but power. They don't want to govern. They don't want to promote your business. Remember, in the province of Ontario, during when the shutdown, the business shutdown occurred, what stores stayed open? The big box, gigantic stores. Mom and pop shops, which actually could control crowds better, were made to close. Conservative governments did that.
Yep. So there's this thing that conservatives do where they complain about something the liberals are doing. And then you dig a little bit and you find out that the conservatives are doing the same damn thing. The prime example I like to use is when the prime minister went down to the Aga Khan's island.
Mm-hmm.
They turned around, oh my God, he's so terrible. And at the exact same time they were doing that, the then interim leader of the Conservative Party, Miss Ronna Ambrose, was on the huge yacht of her very rich then boyfriend's good buddy.
Yeah.
Now, she was on the yacht of her rich boyfriend's good buddy. The prime minister was at the island of a man who was an honorary pallbearer at his father's funeral.
Yes. He's known him his whole life.
Mary Dawson, the then ethics commissioner, the one appointed by Harper, who very rarely found an ethics violation that she was ready to slap someone on. Very, very rarely in 10 years. Very, very rarely. And went out with a bang, finding one on her last case, which happened to be the one for Trudeau, because she decided that he and the Aga Khan were not friends because they didn't hang out despite like a 30-something year age difference. Family history be damned. Right? But then again, we were supposed to believe that he and David Johnson were ski buddies despite 30 years.
Since they skied together.
Yeah, because they skied together once or twice. When I think the prime minister was 12 or something.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the Aga Khan is not a friend. David Johnson is a friend. Conservatives have a very hard time, conservative politicians, determining what is a friend or is not, probably because they don't have any. Hey, they're the party nobody wants to work with. There's a reason for that.
Indeed.
I'm just saying. So, well, turns out that there are images going around of a big party that was had where there was stuff like duck and beef and venison and lobster rolls. Hosted by the Conservatives. These same people who turn around and go, oh my God, he's eating lobster, would have had absolutely no problem if Mr. Macaulay was eating a best quality Alberta steak.
Yeah, that would have been fine, right?
Probably would be about the same price in a restaurant. Right? Your lobster is running like $38 to $40 something. A nice big thick steak, go to the keg.
Yeah, about the same price.
Gonna run you about the same thing.
Damn close.
But it's lobster. And it's Atlantic Canada.
Yeah. That's where the lobster comes from.
But Conservatives have a love-hate relationship with Atlantic Canada. They keep on saying that they seem to want to win there, but anytime that the Prime Minister seems to be doing something, like, for example, removing carbon pricing on home heat fuel.
Yeah, they have a problem with that, don't they?
Which happened to, yes, geographically help Atlantic Canada specifically, even though it's used all across the country and the program applied all across the country, but because more homes there heat that way. Well, they lost their minds over that too, right? So we got their director.
Oh, looks like we lost Mr. Beaver. I don't know what happened there. There, he's back.
Putting out
What
tweets
happened?
like,
You disappeared for a sec.
can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're back. You disappeared for a sec. I don't know what happened. You were just gone.
I've lost all sound and I'm frozen on my screen.
You're good here.
You have to, if you can hear me, you put it in the chat, Mr. Grizzly, for me. Okay, I'm good here. All right. For some reason, I've stopped moving, but you can still hear me.
Yeah.
She posted a tweet that said, "Hot tip for government ministers. Don't post pictures of yourself eating crustaceans while hardworking Canadians are living in their cars and surviving on KD." So what she's saying, we're changing that from conservative bullshit to English.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the votes. Much like Andrew
Basically,
Scheer
yeah.
said, we don't need your Indian votes to the Indigenous community.
Yeah, he did say
And
that.
how do you know this? Because you've never seen Sarah Fisher offer this kind of hot tip when government ministers post pictures of themselves eating prime quality Alberta beef steaks.
Yeah,
She doesn't have a hot
all
tip then,
very-
do you? Does she?
Of course not.
Only
Of
that.
course not.
I can't hear you, Mr. Grizzly. The sound is gone as well. I'm going to try and log out and log back in.
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
You can take
Go
it
ahead.
over. And,
Yeah.
Because I would like to be
I don't
able
know
to
what
talk to you.
happened. I don't know what happened there. Mr. Beaver just literally dropped off and then he came back. It was very strange. Sometimes tech just does weird stuff like that. So hopefully he'll jump in and out and that should be able to bring him back. I could hear him fine. I assume that you could in the chat as well. Let me know if you could still hear Mr. Beaver because he was loud and clear and crystal clear on my end. So hopefully whatever it was, he's able to come back in just a second or two. Either way, this whole thing is just, it stinks to high heaven. It's just another example of the cons being con artists because they seem to have an issue with a minister doing his job, promoting Atlantic Canada's largest export. $3.2 billion worth of lobster gets exported around the world. So he's out there promoting a product that, by the way, is not deemed to be bougie in Atlantic Canada. It was the poor person's meal for many, many decades until advertising changed all of that. So, they can go on and on and on and say that they're being bougie by eating a product that at one point in time was the working class person's meal and is now a major income driver in Atlantic Canada. But when they're doing it, when they're eating lobster at a big dinner that we paid for, by the way, because it's a huge party that was thrown at Stornoway, they were eating all this wonderful food, duck and lobster, crab, I believe, was on the menu, along with, was there some bear, I believe? I'm not sure.
Bear.
Bear was on the menu. So all of that was there, and that's okay. But the second a minister from the other party is doing his job abroad, they got to shit all over him. Now, again, like you said, maybe the optics aren't great because, yes, people are starving. So I will agree with you on that one. I'm like, I don't think the optics are very good. But the minute you point out that, well, you guys did it, when you did it, it seemed to be okay. And we didn't throw a hissy fit over it because, I don't know, we're not children, we're adults. But if you're going to behave like that every time a minister is doing their job, guess what? We've got the receipts. Let's go to the tape. Suddenly they shut their pie holes very, very quickly.
Well, here's the thing. Speaking of receipts, Mr.
Oh.
Grizzly. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. There is an MP named Rick Perkins from the Conservative Party of Canada. He represents the riding of South Shore St. Margaret's in, I'm guessing he's probably Nova Scotia. He was born in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Maybe he doesn't live there anymore. In Nova Scotia, South Shore St. Margaret's. And people have started to point out a tweet from June 7th, 2022, Mr. Grizzly. Because here's the thing, right? like I said, with Ronna Ambrose on the boat. They complain about something, and you just do a little check.
I was proud to provide some Nova Scotia lobster for the Conservative Wild Game Party hosted at Stornoway, the home of the official opposition leader. Last night, MPs from across Canada got to enjoy lobster rolls made fresh from Nova Scotia lobster.
All right. And he's showing a big, big honking ass salad bowl full of lobster, with all everything that you need to make a lobster roll in it. Now, now here's the thing. People pointed that out, and he decided to put out a tweet saying, yeah, I paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mr. Grizzly, it turns out that though he may have paid for it,
mm-hmm. He expensed it, didn't he?
June 6, 2022. Total attendees, $200 to celebrate a significant event. $462.50. Supplier, Clearwater Seafoods.
Yeah, he did pay for it and then expensed it. Funny how that works. Again, we have the receipts, cons. Stop trying to con us.
Literally, we have
the receipts to prove it. Here's the thing. You need to understand. Every expense is tracked and audited and put into the record and is available for every Canadian across the country or around the world for that matter. You could be an expat somewhere. You could be working in another part of the world and you want to know what the riding that you once lived in, what your MP is expensed. Well, guess what? You can find that out very, very easily. It's public record. It's there for you to see. So they're trying to con you. They're lying to your face, and they're not even good at it. They're so bad at this.
They're terrible at it. And here you go, Mr. Grizzly. If we're looking because, we like to bring the receipts. So here's the proof. Yes, and I paid for it. So there we go. We're talking about Lobstergate. It's such a waste of time. Grasping at straws, really? Don't CPC have bigger fish to fry? How many CPC MPs complained about a Liberal eating lobster while they expense lobster themselves? They had that wild game night at Stornoway, if I recall. Moose, what was it? Bison, burgers, lobster rolls, duck kebabs, red persons. Yes, and I paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have receipt. He's full of crap. He expenses the lobster. See, and
the hell you did.
The ratio.
Oh, yeah.
Come again. The ratio on this is terrible. You get a $126 a day food allowance on the backs of every Canadian, yet you voted against a kids' school lunch program. Why should you get the taxpayer dollars but not deserving kids? And we're reimbursed. So you lied. Omitting a thing that's relevant is still lying, sir. Yes, sins of omissions are lying. And it just goes on.
Yeah.
And on and on. And Mr. Perkins went quiet after that.
Gee, I wonder why.
But he still left the tweet up saying I paid for it,
mm-hmm.
though. Let the lie survive. Mr. Grizzly, one of our favorite people.
One of our favorite
people. Who's here this morning. Hello.
Let's have a look at what our buddy Creek Pete has to say.
So the Conservatives are at it again, trying to create another fake controversy, this time with Lawrence MacAulay, who is the Minister of Agriculture and Food for Canada. And so he touched down in Malaysia, having a productive week with industry leaders and partners in Indo-Pacific to promote world-class products like lobster. So he had Canadian lobster in Malaysia. Yeah. Uh-oh. Because, liberals are not worth the cost, because we got to get those fucking stupid slogans in, right? But apparently promoting Canadian fisheries in other countries, that's not worth the cost. It's outrage. How tone deaf can people be? What? I mean, it's literally his job, Melissa. It's literally his job. You fraud. Another luxury trip. Fake outrage. Paid liar. This one. How out of touch can he be? I mean, it's literally his job. If you knew what your job was, Melissa, maybe you could do something. Maybe you would actually be worth the cost that we're paying you instead of just being an internet troll. But anyway, this one, fantastic. Because I guess Nova Scotia lobster is for elitists, right, Melissa? You're genius. Fucking genius. Because, liberals are world-traveling elitists, and they're so out of touch. Oops. Oopsie. $600 a plate dinners? No, that's not elitist. That's not out of touch. It's all good when it's the conservatives, right? Right? No, it's all good. No fake outrage there. No. I'm so utterly sick and tired of these rage-farming, compulsive liar conservatives dividing Canadians and then pretending that they're not the ones doing it. It's disgusting.
Our approach is going to be different. Thank you. First of all, Justin Trudeau has made Canada weak, poor, and defenseless. His plan for national defense is to rely on Joe Biden or Donald Trump to protect Canada. That puts...
Except, once again, he's a compulsive liar. Who cut spending to the military? Who increased it? Who? Who cut spending? Look at the years. Spending goes down. Spending goes back up. Who made Canada defense list? Every word that these guys say is a lie. They are compulsive liars. Nothing that they say is true. The guy is spending taxpayer money traveling across Canada when there's no election like a drunken sailor. But he's not out of touch? I mean, I'm so sick and tired of these people. If you're it's juvenile bullshit. And if you're falling for it, it's because you're a child.
Man is never wrong.
Man is never wrong. Nope.
And once again, receipts.
Literally receipts. So we're talking a lot about Melissa Lantzman in there. We have Asif Hussain on Twitter going, on the extremely stupid lobster controversy, a reminder that a Conservative MP was a former lobbyist for a department store known for destroying local businesses. So one of the richest families in America can get richer is probably not your friend in the affordability crisis.
Yeah.
Paging Melissa Lantzman.
Let's not forget about
Melissa Lantzman, please come to the white courtesy phone. Paging Melissa Lantzman.
Let's not forget about Jenny Byrne and who her firm lobbies for. Oh, that's right. Loblaws.
Oh, yeah. For the kids who were listening at home, Creek Pete showed this little graphic that talks about
Spending.
conservative spending on travel,
Mhm.
flying around the world, and showing that the Conservatives have billed about $300,000 more for travel to us
Then the ruling party.
and have taken more trips.
Yeah.
Yep. And to continue, then we have this guy here, who they keep on sending out the wrong guy, man.
Well,
You put this one up. Andrew Scheer, who's still working off his debt, clearly,
yeah.
tweets, Mr. Grizzly,
Trudeau Liberals don't need to worry about their carbon tax driving up grocery prices. Now when they get lobster, when they get lobster in Kuala Lumpur,
not when.
they force you to pay more, but they don't feel... I can hardly see that just as let me blow it up. There we go.
Okay, sorry.
I'll start again. Trudeau Liberals don't need to worry about their carbon tax driving up grocery prices. Not when they get lobster in Kuala Lumpur. They force you to pay more, but they don't feel the pain unless they run out of garlic butter.
And how does he label this?
Out of touch alert.
Okay. Guy who's still working off his debt because he used taxpayer-funded political donations to buy himself a minivan and send his kids, he's got 5 of them, to private school when we've already all paid to send them to public school.
Yes.
Ones has thoughts about being out of touch.
Sir, sit down. You have not got it. You have not the right. You have not the right. You have not the right. You don't. I'm sorry, you do not. Actually, I'm not sorry. You don't have the right to tell us how to behave when you spent millions of dollars that wasn't yours to spend.
Well, close to a
Close
million.
to $1 million. Sorry. I'm sorry. Was it 900,000?
Something like that. But while the entire time he was Speaker of the House, and then all the time that he was Leader of the Opposition, literally living rent free.
Literally.
Because in Canada, the Speaker of the House also gets a residence.
Yeah. So the man didn't
As
pay
does the
rent
Leader of
for what?
Opposition.
How many years? Like,
Easily 6, if not
well, he
more.
was Speaker for
I
how
don't know
long?
how long he was Speaker. I have to check that one out.
Man didn't pay rent for years, and he has the audacity to send his children to private school.
He was a Speaker from 2011 to 2015. And then served as the Leader of the Opposition from 2017 to 2020. So that's about 7 years.
Yeah. 7 years rent free.
And maybe with a chef and people cleaning his house. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. Out of touch. And here's the other lovely thing. Because, I kept on mentioning Stuart Benson from the Hill Times, how he's doing some really good work. Mr. Grizzly, if you would put this up as well.
Kicking off Japan's National Day and Emperor Naruhito's birthday, House of Commons Speaker Fergus, Minister Honorable Ahmed Hussein, and Champagne joined Japan's ambassador to Canada, Kenji Yamanouchi, to crack open a cold one, a giant drum of sake.
So we have all these beautiful visuals.
Mm-hmm.
And
I have been informed the ambassador chef has prepared over 1,000 pieces of sushi for tonight. I'm unsure what everyone else is going to eat because I'm already on plate 3.
Right. Now, of course, this was the Embassy of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not abnormal for nations to do this when they're hosting.
Mm-hmm.
This is a minister that went there and bought one portion for himself so he can do some promotion. Now, again, probably the optics were bad in terms of him actually eating it and showing himself enjoying them. And there's probably a different photo that he could have taken in that case. But come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently we're only allowed to promote industries that conservatives approve of.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, exactly. If we say it's okay for the Canadian public. If we say it's not okay, it's not okay for the Canadian public because we need to rage farm off of it. Because let's face it, a $3.2 billion a year industry in Atlantic Canada, a section of the country that will never vote us in. See how that worked?
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Now, here's the reason why I posted the Stuart Benson. I showed the Stuart Benson clip because he had this comment to say. Mr. Grizzly, if you put it up.
Mm-hmm. I've seen quite a few people upset at this who were more than happy to scarf down the Nagasaki bluefin and imported sake at the Japanese emperor's birthday last week. And this is in regards to Lawrence Macaulay eating lobster in Malaysia, for those of you listening.
Yes. So, it's not that the conservatives have problem with bougie meals.
No.
I mean, remember, on the night that Pierre Poilievre made everybody stay in the House of Commons to vote in that telethon,
where they voted no on every single item on the budget.
Yes,
every single.
He was out at a $1,700 plate dinner.
$1,600. Yeah,
$1,600 plate dinner.
We want to get the numbers right. Maybe it was 17. I thought it was 16.
I think it was 17. Yeah, because there was another thing that was a $600 plate dinner.
That's what I might be mixing up then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he had no problem with that. And then he brought his kids back McDonald's.
And they cheered him as he walked through with bags of McDonald's.
Like he was a hero.
That he expensed, by the way. I paid for it and then expensed it. Yeah, you did pay for it, and then you expensed it.
Oh my
But you had
God.
paid for it with a company credit card, Government of Canada credit card, and then expensed it. So he doesn't even see the bill. And here's the other thing: as the official leader of the opposition, he wouldn't pay for anything. Somebody else would pay for it, and it would be expensed through his office. It wouldn't come directly out of his pocket.
Right. Right. Man,
They can't help themselves, can they?
they can't help themselves whatsoever. Taking a slight move from the lobster stuff, but basically they're telling Atlantic Canadians, let's just make that clear.
You don't matter.
Like, they've just flipped the bird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't care.
They've just like literally flipped you the bird. Just can't believe it, these people. Staying in that sort of realm, there was an article in the Toronto Star yesterday that said nobody wants to have a beer with Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, I saw that.
If we believe recent polling, it appears that voters really, really don't want to sit down for a cold one with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I would have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. But we got this guy, and I'm saying this guy again, Pierre Poilievre, Jeff, WTF? Why that face? Or well, that fits. Tweeting this because, of course, he can never resist an opportunity to be the authentic prick that he is. Mr. Grizzly, if you would put this up and bring out your best Poilievre voice for this one, please.
Why would you want to have a beer with a self-righteous narcissist wagging his finger at you for heating your home and driving a car to work while he jets around the world? He'd make you pick up the tab, including the federal beer tax, which goes up April 1st.
Okay.
Pot, kettle, projection.
Ring.
Projection much?
Ring.
Holy
Pick up
shit.
the phone, Mr. Grizzly. Ring. Hello? Kettle? or more like hello, cauldron. This is pot. Psst, you're black. It's just, oh my word. So here we have, okay, let's go through this one. Why would you want to have a beer with a self-righteous narcissist?
Projection.
Wagging his finger at you in every one of his videos. He's got a finger going like this at you, or like this, or right? For heating your home and driving a car to work while he jets around the world, the guy who's been jetting around the country at the cost of $18,000 a day to us, and he'd make you pick up the tab.
Every statement
He says,
is an admission.
I was like, and I'm reading this and I'm thinking, in which finger-wagging guy jetting around the country who called a Canadian brewer's product watered down and gutless because he's super thin-skinned and doesn't have the professional temperament required for the job he seeks, has thoughts on self-righteous narcissism?
Yeah. Honest to goodness, I'm sure writers at this hour has 22 minutes are sitting there going, how the hell are we supposed to write stuff like this when he's already...
I mean, and then we saw that little graphic that Creek Pete put up.
Yeah. Again, we have the
How
receipt.
he's making us pick up the tab.
Stop treating us like fools. Here's the thing, though, and this is the honest to goodness truth. If people are not giving factual information, they will believe what's written by the right-wing rags that they read, which omit and leave out stuff nonstop. It's the reason we have a show. I got sick and tired of people being lied to.
Yep.
I got so tired of Canadians being lied to on the daily by national publications, national broadcasters, and did it delightfully because they wanted to rage farm. Because, I don't know, maybe in this instance, for certain, Not only do they have a right bent, a right lean, but 60% of the Canadian publications are owned by an American company. 60%. Now, who changed the rules on that? Oh, that's right, Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
Now, just to put that graphic back up again, because it flashed very quickly in Creek Pete's video. Excellent video.
Yes.
When he says
Scroll-
that
scroll down.
the Prime Minister would go out for a beer and then stick us with the tab. Total trips by federal party 2019 to 2023. Independents 3, Bloc 16 for a total of about $140,000. The NDP 23 for a total of about $140,000. The Liberals 65 for a total of just under $500,000, and the Conservatives 97 for a total of $736,000. And they're just the opposition.
They haven't been in power since 2015. 2015 was when they were ceremoniously given the exit. Not unceremoniously, but ceremoniously given the exit.
But Justin Trudeau's the one that'll make us pick up the tab for the beer.
They can't lie even. They're terrible at lying. They lie so much that they've forgotten what they've done. And they expect us to believe their bullshit. And again, I'm not saying, and I know you're not saying, that the Liberals or NDP are innocent. We're not saying that. But what we are saying is that the Conservative Party of Canada lies to your face when we have easily provable lies. We have the receipts to prove that you're lying to us. And they do it daily and continue to get away with it. And that is the part that has me angry and exasperated all the damn time. That is the thing. They lie, they don't get called out for their lies. This is the reason we have a program. This is the reason we have a show. Because we're sick of it. And we want to get factual information to Canadians so they can make an informed decision. Look, truth be told, if you look at the record historically, since, well, Joe Clark, for sure, and to a degree, John Diefenbaker, they were both progressives, by the way. They were very much progressives. They did some good things. Now, Joe Clark wasn't in power for very long. Brian Mulroney did great things when it comes to the environment, but we know about the envelopes of cash. It's not a fallacy. It's true. Right. We know about that. And I'm not saying that it's been a whole bunch of non-corrupted individuals in the Liberal Party of Canada or the NDP Party of Canada. I'm not saying that at all. It just seems to be that there's more corruption within the Conservative Party of Canada, which is really the Reform Party, because it's not conservative anymore, and it's definitely not progressive. They lie every day and don't get called out for it. And the media has finally caught on, or maybe they've always known, but they just let it go and let it go and let it go. And I think now they're just fed up with it. Like, why have they waited so long to call out Jeff on his lies? They're doing it now, and I'm thankful. You notice he hasn't been on camera in a little while, though. That wasn't something that he could control, his own camera crew. Like an actual press conference where members of the press are there, he won't do that for a while. He'll be gone for another 30 or 40 days before he does that again. Sure, he'll have another press release where he has his own private crew that he's hired to make him look special and unique. He may do it in a crowd of people that he's in all likelihood hired to be there to cheer him on. Maybe not. Maybe he hasn't hired them. Maybe there are people who actually believe his lies who will show up to cheer him on. Either way, it's his lies that I can't take anymore. And I know Canadians are fed up, and that's why I continue to say it, and I will continue to say it. 2024 is the year of the pushback. We're fed up, and we're not tolerating it any longer. And that's my rant for today.
Yeah. We touched on it a little bit yesterday. The whole thing with, I'm going to say Dina Sheriff, but
Deanna.
I don't know if it's Deanna.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it Deanna?
I think it's Deanna.
I don't know her well enough to know. I saw some of the videos. I'm not going to show them.
No. It's one of them's about 15 minutes worth, I think.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. I think we all agree. Dina. Okay. Ina tells us it's Dina.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dina.
Very, very clear. Nobody ever, under any circumstances, deserves to be assaulted.
Correct.
Ever. But there is something that did, how do I put it, become clear to me when I'm watching these videos. And it has to do with them saying that this movement is peaceful. Because I watched that video, and to me, if there was any doubt that this is an inherently violent movement rather than the peaceful one, we need to consider how often these people get physical with each other.
Yes.
They keep swearing to us up and down, side to side, and all around that their movement is peaceful, all about love and unity. But they can't stand each other, and they keep on putting hands upon each other.
Well, it's all about.
And in one of those videos that I saw before, Comtois, who is the guy we talked about 2 episodes ago, I think, or maybe yesterday, but the guy who had gotten arrested, tinfoil hat guy. So I didn't know about the Dina stuff at that time, but that's why he was arrested, because, the body slam. But literally seconds before that happened, there's clips of the video of her trying to step to people, trying to get her hands on people, trying to get up in people's face. They actually has 2 or 3 people trying to block her, like it's a hockey brawl.
Yeah, I did see that.
And she's saying a bunch of stuff like this. And he actually grabs her by the back of the coat and removes her and walks her up Parliament Hill and calls for Parliamentary Protective Services to arrest her because she's assaulting people. Now, I don't know what the order and the sequence of all the things that happened. But up until that point, the guy in the yellow jacket was doing the correct thing. Because she was the one that was seeking to get into some type of physical confrontation. And she was reaching out with her hand. She was reaching out. The first person to put hands on someone.
Yeah, you're at fault.
So she is no angel.
No, and we were never saying that either. But look, I don't know the person. I think her motivations are good. I think her actions are bad. That's my personal opinion.
So, yeah. So people tried to separate people. And the guy who was trying to separate, trying to make sure that there was no violence at first, he's the one that got arrested. But clearly there was something that happened. I tweeted that, and Dina, for some reason, happened to like the tweet. The tweet where I said, nobody under any circumstances deserves to be assaulted ever. With that said, if there was ever any doubt that this is an inherently violent movement rather than a peaceful one, consider that they get physical with each other, and this is far from the first time. Not sure why she would like that.
I don't know. Look, we don't like extremism on left or right. We just don't like extremism. And I think she's leaning into the extremism. From what I have seen, I don't know her. We've never met. I can't form an honest opinion. I don't have a fully formed honest opinion of her because I don't know her.
I never knew of her until this.
No, I knew who she was.
I never even knew of her. I didn't know of her existence.
I did. I have for quite some time. And she does. She's a provocateur. And I understand what she's trying to do. And I don't disagree with what she's trying to do. I disagree with the manner in which she's doing it. From what I've seen. Again, I don't know her as a person. I don't know what her motivation is. I agree with what she's trying to do. I disagree with the manner in which she's trying to do it.
Yeah.
Violence.
And I have an expression.
It never de-escalates. It escalates. And I just disagree with the manner in which she's trying to do it.
Yep. And I have an expression. And again, I'm not saying that this justifies violence being done to people at all. No, Never, under any circumstances, do you put hands on another person without their prior consent
Mhm.
for any reason.
Period.
But he or she or they who stir the pot should not be acting surprised when some of the contents wind up on their hands. If there's a pot and you grab that you grab that spoon and you start stirring and something goes sploosh, you go, oh my God,
Mhm.
I got pot contents on my hands. How unfair is that? You stirred the pot.
Look, it would have been just as easy.
That was a
It would have
choice.
been easy for her to go there and stand across the street from them and hold up a sign and use a bullhorn if she needed to tell them she was against them. I think getting in people's faces like that on a constant, recurring basis, because she does this all the time. I'm going to say, and this is my opinion, my personal opinion from what I've seen, okay? I'm going to say this. That will turn people off. That will turn people against you. I understand fighting fire with fire. I do. I get it. But there are ways to fight fire with fire without actually stooping to somebody else's level. And I think she's just going about it in the wrong way. I get the spirit of what she's trying to do. And I agree with her counter-protesting of horrible people who are trying to take people's rights away, who are spewing falsehoods and outlandish conspiracy theories and want to have a coup, basically. So I agree with her motivation. I just don't agree with her method. And and again, that is from what I have seen. I don't know her. She could be a sweetheart. I don't know. I don't know if this is an act. I don't know if this is a put on. I don't know if she's trying to push her own personal agenda. I have no idea. I only know what I've seen.
Now, I'm noticing on the chats that people are telling people to stop expressing their thoughts on something. Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
If nothing being said is actually offensive, please don't do that. This is a forum where we allow people to speak. And if they are speaking about personal experiences with someone, we allow them to do that. We don't invalidate their experience. So just please don't do that.
We realize this is
a hot button issue. I understand it's a hot button issue, and I understand that there's a lot of passion, but let's not make this a channel where we gripe about our personal issues with someone, but let's not make this a channel also if somebody has some personal experience to bring where we ask them to censor themselves.
We don't want to do that.
Well, let's just have engagement thing, right? And I understand right now what's happening if I'm watching this conversation is that one person is focused on that which happened in the moment, which it seems that was a group that seemed to have ganged up on Dina, and that's not right. But what the other person is sharing of their personal experience is not something that happened on that day. Both can be true.
Exactly.
Both can be true.
All good, Michael. I understood that.
It can be true that on that day, people were intimidating her. And maybe she didn't react in the best way, and things got inflamed. And someone got arrested for it.
Again, I don't know this person.
But it could also be true that that person agitated and did something to someone else on another occasion that caused something. And we can talk about both experiences. Right? Just, I want this to be a place where people can talk about that stuff. So just when people are sharing personal experiences, just please don't ask them not to do that. Right. How are we doing for time, Mr. Grizzly?
We got about 5 minutes, sir.
All right. Some of the big news that happened yesterday was with regard to inflation, because some numbers came out yesterday and they were actually pretty good, I have to say.
2.9.
Yes, inflation came in at 2.9% from Statistics Canada. They put out the number, and that's down from 3.4%, which I think is an absolutely great thing, mostly based on the price of gas. So once again, we have a situation with conservatives that
Well,
while they're out there screaming that the carbon tax, which we told you would be going up by like 2.56 cents or something like that, is going to cause you to lose your home and not be able to eat and curve your spine and infect your children with a whole bunch of illnesses and whatever. The price of gas has gone down more than what the carbon tax increase in April is going to raise it by. Now, when the December numbers came out and inflation went up to 3.4, you had Pierre Poilievre with a whole bunch of tweets out there going, "Oh my God, thanks to Justin Trudeau," basically doing the "thanks Obama" thing again. Inflation's up to 3.4%, and Justin Trudeau did that like this. But I didn't see any tweets from Pierre Poilievre yesterday saying, "Hey, inflation is down a full half point in just 1 month.
Of course not.
Great job, Trudeau."
Of course not.
And
when it goes up, it's
just-
Justin Trudeau's fault. When it goes down, it gets ignored.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering when it is that we can expect Pierre Poilievre's tweet.
That'll
I'm
be
just
never.
wondering.
That'll be never. He'll never praise anything the Prime Minister does. Even if it was for the benefit of every single Canadian and lifted everybody up and created a better world, he wouldn't praise it. He would find fault with it somewhere and probably just completely ignore it altogether, like it never happened.
So let's just put this. Let's just flash back to last month when the inflation numbers came out. This was Pierre Poilievre's tweet. Mr. Bisley, you put it up there. Again, please do the voice.
After 8 years of Justin Trudeau's inflationary spending, Canadians are paid more to eat, heat, and house themselves. Not worth the cost.
So they have a picture of, and then a meme of Justin Trudeau tinted in red again because he's the devil, with a whole bunch of headlines. Canada's annual inflation rises to 3.4% in December. Statistics Canada. Inflation rises to 3.4% from the Toronto Star, City News, CBC, Wall Street Journal. But I searched high and low. See his Twitter feed yesterday for just inflation decreases again. Canada's annual inflation rate, the second lowest it's been since August 2021. Since August 2021, it's only been under 3% twice. It was at 2.8% in June of last year, then started to go up again, and now it is for the second time. It's almost the lowest inflation we've had in close to 2 years. And the inflation rate number, if you take out the price of gas, is down to 3.2%, which is the lowest it's been since, I think, April 2021.
Yeah.
And food inflation on food specifically, which had been very, very high, well, they went down 1.3% from 4.7 to 3.4. And in the last employment report, we were saying that wages were still up at 5.4%. So wages are rising faster than inflation for something like the 11th month in a row. Wages are rising faster than inflation at a rate of about 2.5%. Inflation on food has gone down 1.3%, faster than the 0.5% drop in the overall inflation rate itself. But conservatives are not celebrating. And then you had Premier Scott Moe go out and tweet that because his party is not longer charging
Carbon.
for carbon, that, and their inflation rate came in lower than that, right? So he says, there we go. Let's just put it right up there for all the kids to see what Scott Moe did. Saskatchewan's decision to remove the Trudeau carbon tax on home heating dropped Saskatchewan's inflation rate in January to 1.9%, down from 2.7% in December and well below the national rate of 2.9%. According to Statistics Canada, quote, in Saskatchewan, the collection of the carbon levy ceased in January 2024, contributing to the province's year-over-year price decline of natural gas. The Trudeau carbon tax was over a quarter of the cost of natural gas in Saskatchewan. If the feds are actually serious about fighting inflation, they would scrap the carbon tax on everyone and everything. Okay. Well, a little inconvenient truth. In Manitoba, where they didn't stop the carbon price, inflation dropped from 1.7 to 0.8. So it would appear that the inflation rate in Manitoba dropped 0.1% more than it did in Saskatchewan without removing the carbon stuff. So maybe the carbon stuff didn't have much to do with it. Maybe. And the thing is that Statistics Canada said that ceasing to charge their customers the carbon price contributed to the 26.6% decrease in the cost of natural gas year over year. It did not make up the entire quarter of the cost that was decreased. But Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe is saying that the 26.6% decrease year over year is all due to him saying, I'm not going to charge you the carbon tax anymore, which, by the way, kids who happen to be living in Saskatchewan, just because he's not charging it to you doesn't mean that the province is not obligated to remit it to the federal government. So whether you pay for it directly or not, he's still going to have to transfer the cash to Ottawa that should have been collected, which means it's still going to come from your taxes. So he's just hiding it.
That's all he's doing. It's a shell game. Nothing more.
He's pretending you're not paying for it, but you still are.
Of course you are.
Yeah. Kids, Cubs, Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
We do indeed.
Indeed. All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this to you. My voice is actually coming back a little bit. I've noticed as the show's going. I'm not quite there yet, but hopefully by lunch, I'll be back to my regular voice. Remember, sharing is caring. So please, 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 please tell your peeps and poops all about us. And if you do not want to miss an episode, you do not have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, because she sponsored our pod page, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And that's, if you subscribe there, well, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will come directly to you. And if you scan that QR code that's right under my chin, that will bring you there as well. If you'd like to support us in other ways, please go to the True North Eager Beaver Incorporated True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated. I can't even get the name of the company. Boy, I'm terrible. No wonder we have no advertisers. To our YouTube page and make like Kit Elaine and smash all those buttons, like, share, subscribe. That's all the good stuff. And that helps us a lot. We're getting close to 700. So help us get us over the hump. And if you'd like to help us in yet another way, you can go to our coffee page. That's the squiggly by Mr. Grizzly's head there on the screen. If you scan that, that's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And there you can make a donation to the Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund, which will help keep us moist. And as you can see, I need a little moistness. So if you can help out, that would be really, really, really appreciated. What else do we have? Because democracy is something that you do write those letters, please, and find a way to get involved. Sorry, I got a cough.
Oh, don't do that. You okay?
Yep, I'm okay. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. Well, sir, that is a complicated thing now, isn't it? In these incredibly frustrating political times where we get trials and tribulations on a daily basis, and I find myself exasperated on the daily. Try and keep your head above you. Remember to breathe with intent, deeply, to calm yourself. Remember to smile at everybody you encounter because it gives more to them than it gives to you. Remember to be kind because kindness costs you nothing. Always be polite because you know what? Kindness and politeness go hand in hand, and they'll make your day and the day of another even better.
Very, very, very good words.
Thank you.
From the Beaver Lodge, this is your eager beaver saying it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Oh no, I just saw that Miss Shadika is at the hospital with Mateo.
Oh no.
Oh no, I hope that everything is okay. Well, I mean, obviously it's not okay because he's at the hospital, but I hope it's not too serious.
We'll find out.
And that he bounces back really, really quickly. Please keep us posted, and we're sending a whole bunch of healing energy and good vibes there. Right. And to the kids in the caps chat that we're having a lively discussion, please, please, please don't take anything too personally about what I said. That I'm not trying to do a big admonishment. I'm just trying to send over the general philosophy of our show is that we want this to be a place where people can actually talk without being shut down. And that's from both sides, right? All parties involved in the conversation. I'm not targeting just one person. Just, say your piece and put it out there. There's no need to beat a dead horse by coming back to it all the time, but also allow people to say their piece. And, we want this to be exactly, we want, like as Cassie Lake says, be kind and gentle to each other in the chat as well, right? Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
Trying.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.
And Mr. Grizzly, I don't know if you had anything for an Easter egg, but I had a visual
something
created by someone
Oh,
who
I do.
follows us.
I'll throw that, but I do have something quickly here.
All right.
I do have this. It's like lobster.
So this is at Tom Saint Denis #2. He says, "I did a thing," and it's a visual. I guess it's an AI generated cartoon image of a lobster with a Canada flag on it, clawing the F out of an apple that has a Canadian
Has a maple leaf
flag
on it.
in
Yeah.
Has a maple leaf in it. So yeah, mwah, chef's kiss.
How do you like them apples? Well, here's what I have. So I'm curious to hear what the Conservative Party of Canada will have to say about this. I'm going to put this on the screen, let it sit, and then I'll read it, and then I got to go.
Yes.
Could Canadians lose access to Pornhub? Depends on what happens with the Senate bill. The owners of
Mhm.
Pornhub say blocking access to Canadians is among its options it's considering as it tries to persuade parliamentarians to reject an approach for age verification outlined in a controversial Senate bill. The Pornhub website is shown on a computer screen in Toronto, Wednesday, December 16, 2020. The owners of Pornhub say blocking access to Canadians is among options they're considering as they tried to persuade. We've taken different options in different jurisdictions. I don't want to speculate on the bill in its current state. We're going to committee to ensure that the wrong legislation doesn't get passed. So I'm curious to see what the Conservatives will say about that one. Right? Think of it as a hot button issue.
Considering
they're all about freedom of expression, freedom of choice. The government is blocking your access to the internet. They're going to take away your. Oh, so how do you feel about the pornography ones that, the freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and people want to look at pornography and have the right to do it, and you want to take that away from them? What, are you going to fight for them now, Conservatives? Are you going to fight for people now who might lose access to that? I'm just curious if are they going to be hypocrites and turn tail and crawl back into the holes and under the rocks that they live in, under the rock that they live under, I should say? Or are they going to fight for, people's rights to make a choice? I'm curious. I really am curious.
Yeah. And considering that we didn't get to it in the show, but considering that there's news that came out today that Danielle Smith is now coming for sex ed.
Oh, we knew that would happen.
Yep. She now wants Alberta to become the first province in which parents opt in to sex ed on behalf of their kids rather than opt out, which has been an option since 2009, because she wants to ensure that people learn about this stuff only when they're ready. Actually, it's not when they're ready, it's when their parents decide that they're ready, I guess. And which, fine, parents have a say. That's why they have the opt out. But now nobody gets to have it unless you specifically opt in, is the goal that she wants to pass into legislation. And she says that it's about sex or sexual orientation, but she meant not sexual orientation, but sex education. But while she's talking about that, she mentions, well, kids are not ready. We mustn't assume that parents are okay with their child learning about sexual health and gender identity and sexual orientation.
Yeah, it's all complicated.
She just slides them in there. So
I got to go. I'll see you.
Bye, kids.